Hey, it's Nathaniel with HeartFab, coming back with another video. I'm about to start on this job here. I'll put a photo so you can see what that job is. My customer asked me if I could redo this wooden ADA railing and put in a nice new metal railing. So it's going to have a picket rail or what they call a guardrail with the ADA codes, which will be rectangular tubing and then square pickets. And then on the inside of that, since it's ADA, there will have to be a round pipe handrail. The company I sent this material off to get bent with, right in the middle of this project, had one of their bending machines break down, so they couldn't do the job as quickly as I was hoping, but after a couple of weeks, they got it done, so I went to pick it up. When I got on site here, I just started laying out the bent pieces on top of these old railings, just to see if the curve was about right. And the curves were a little bit off, because this bend is not a continuous bend, but rather it's got some straight sections in it. What I should have done is put a piece of metal conduit and bent it around to the exact shape of the concrete. Anyway, I went ahead and started pulling this old railing apart. I tried to test fit this on site and tack these legs on, but considering I didn't have any help to do this, I could not handle this piece on site by myself. So I took it back to the shop and just started tacking these legs on, trying to make sure each one was plumb. I bought these handrail brackets off of Wagner.com, and this will be what I use to hold my pipe railing to the guardrail. Trying to put this pipe on here by myself was quite a challenge. I had to just tack it at one point and then try to lift it up and get it tacked in the other points. Working by yourself on big jobs like this is a lot of times very challenging. Sometimes I wish I had employees. Once I got all these legs tacked on and those handrails welded to the guardrail itself, I went out on site and dug the holes where these posts will go. And then my customer and I test fitted this railing in place. I didn't end up filming that because it was a very rainy day and I didn't want to get the camera all wet. As I had mentioned before, this curve was not quite perfect, so I had to make a couple of cuts, like with this pipe railing here, to make sure this actually matched what was on site. And then I just started putting together the ADA loop for this section of the railing. Then I did the ADA loop for the other end of this railing. Then I began the long process of cutting and tacking pickets and putting my bottom rails on. There I'm drilling the holes where this post will actually mount onto the wall. After drilling these, I had a second thought Instead of using the bolts through this tube as all that supports this railing, I'm gonna set that post in concrete because it's only fascia board, and if you know anything about fascia board, it does not hold screws well, unless there's wood behind it to back it. After I'd gotten everything ground down, this first railing was ready to go. Then I went ahead and repeated the process on the second railing. The easiest way I found to space these pickets was by making a little jig, just like you see here. So I finished out the welding on this second bigger railing. Then it was time to move on to these smaller railings. These two little railings will just bolt on to the bigger ones. After welding and grinding everything down, I took this down to my local powder coaters and got it powder coated. After about a week, it was ready to go. When I got back on site, it was sunny and not pouring down rain. I thank the Lord for that. Here I was digging that hole for that last post that I'm going to screw into this wall here. First thing I noticed when I tried to fit this little railing in place, it was not correct. After looking back at the drawing, I saw that I had actually drawn it up right, but somehow when I went to build this, I only accounted for one step and not two. My customer and my brother were able to give me a hand putting this in place. And to make the most use of their time, I just had them help me put it in place, and then I'll put the concrete around it. When I got this railing in place, it was a little bit twisted, so one end would be close to plumb and then the other end would be way far off plumb. After scratching my head a little bit and doing some thinking, I decided I was gonna screw this post into the concrete and mix up some wet concrete also, and then use a ratchet strap on the other end to make sure I could get both ends parallel. So I went down to the Home Depot and picked up some concrete anchors, longer than the ones I had since I didn't have any that would have worked. And to make this end even more stable, before I put this ratchet strap on it, I decided I would install the little handrail. Then I went forward with my plan, putting a ratchet strap on it from one side of the railing to that little railing, getting this thing as close to plumb as I could, and then putting concrete in the hole and letting it set. Then I went ahead and finished putting concrete in the rest of the holes on this left-hand railing. The camera ran out of storage, so I wasn't able to get this last part on video, but what I did is screw this handrail to the fascia board, and then I also screwed the guardrail in and then set that post there in concrete. And in the meantime, I had the other end lifted up on some 4x4s because, just like the other side, this one also had to be tweaked. And then I left it like that overnight. Then I came back the next morning and did almost the same thing. I put a ratchet strap from this railing to the one on the other side to make this last post plumb. Then I went ahead and poured the rest of the concrete on this side. Back in the shop here, it was time for me to fix this little railing. So all I had to do on this one was sharpen that angle there, and then make that main piece a few inches longer. I'll go ahead and drop that off a powder coat, and in hopefully about a week, I'll get it installed, and we'll be finished up with this job. I didn't film the process of installing this little railing, but it was a really quick install. It took me under a half hour, and there it is, all finished up. This was the first ever ADA guardrail I've built. I've done handrails, just pipe railing, but never built a guardrail particularly for ADA compliant codes. And on top of that, this was my first time doing a bent picket rail like this. The customer was very happy with it, left me a really good review on Google, so I think that's a success. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped you if you're a fabricator and doing this kind of work, or at the least, I hope you got some entertainment out of it. But if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, let me know what you think in the comments. And also, if you enjoy this kind of content, consider subscribing to my channel, because Lord willing, I will keep sending you content just like this video. Thanks, and God bless.